Dear Shambra, the journey began for all of us, in the temples of Tien in Atlantis. In the temples of Tien, we brought ourselves together. We envisioned a time just like this, 13 cycles later, a time of change and a time of evolution for all of us. It began there. We did not know what twists and turns would occur on the path. We had no idea, no concept of the hardships and the challenges, the tears and the laughter. We could not even possibly imagine at that point how there would be days and lifetimes that we would become completely lost, completely filled with loss of hope, loss of vision, loss of identity. But we imagined back in the temples of Tien a time that would come that we could speak the word enlightenment, where we could accept it within ourselves, where we could literally bring that consciousness into this reality that we knew would be dense and harsh, a reality that would almost try to drive it from us, but with a deep passion that we all brought in back in Atlantis. We knew that it would sustain, and we knew that it would blossom here on Earth. Atlantis was a time of the development of the mind, the standardizing of ourselves as human beings on this planet that we love so much. It was a time to think, it was a time to structure, it was a time to design, and that we did. We designed the entire template of the human that we now see on the planet. But in Atlantis, we also envisioned a time where we would step over that line of the mental that kept us in place, held us together, brought us together, allowed us to see our world through mental and human eyes. But we said to ourselves, there will come a time when we cross that line, when we go beyond the mental era, when we go into the next era of new energy. And here we are. And here we are today. After Atlantis, we came back from underneath the ground where we live for protection, but also symbolic of our own inner look, going to the inner vision, connecting with our souls and our divine that would have been difficult to do while still being engaged in all the activities of the outside or the upper world. And from there we went into the times of Egypt, coming up literally from the ground into what are the temples, the pyramids all over the world. We emerged. So many of you in the times of Egypt, in the great pyramids, in the king's chamber, breathing in our divinity, breathing in the potentials for this era of humanity. Later, joining together in body or in spirit in the time of Yeshua as Essenes, as the ones bringing in the mysteries into this planet, and the one heralding in what many thought would be the beginning of a new time and a new age, but all of you knew that it had already begun. Walking with the great master Yeshua, lands of Israel, bringing in those energies, seeding this earth with the Christ energy, the Christos energy. Not to forget the times of Tobias. Yes, Tobias. Dear Tobias, when so many of you were in those times as well. Tobias Sr., also called Tobias. Tobias Jr., Sarah, Archangel Raphael. beautiful story, and a time when, again, we were all together, all brought together for this purpose of realizing what we had imagined back in the Atlantean temples. And then on to the mystery schools. The mystery schools. All throughout Europe, a place of fun and study, a place of really understanding how to bring in the divine. But, as you know, the world wasn't quite ready at that time. The mystery schools were like islands unto themselves. Very much celebration. But the moment we walked into the outside world, it was a shock. It was traumatic. Going from the beautiful energies into the mystery school, into the very, very dense consciousness of the human world. And now, this time, 13 years ago, the true energy of Shambhala started to manifest. Over the years, many of you brought together this new call of Archangel Gabriel, this new call to come together, saying it is time for your enlightenment. It is time. That call that has brought us together month after month over these years, a call that has brought up something within you, given you the courage, given you the hope for your own enlightenment. Not for the world, not for your family, not for anyone except you. If you summarize everything that the planet is going through right now, all the strife and turmoil and everything else, it's all about freedom. All about freedom. And we've talked about this. I've irritated some of you before because I said I wasn't really sure humans are ready for freedom. Really. They've gotten used to not having it. They've gotten complacent. They've allowed somebody to kind of take care of them, and then they've got used to complaining about it. But what's happening right now, if you take a look at some of the wars, some of the things happening on this planet, the real strife, it's about freedom. And there's still a huge question, are humans ready for freedom? Yes, Pollyanna, it'd be nice to say absolutely humans are beautiful, wonderful beings, but they're still in the Atlantean mental consciousness, a consciousness that's been programmed, that's been trained to not have freedom, to think they have freedom, pretend they have freedom, but actually not have it. You, with your passion for enlightenment, with your passion for sovereignty, you are going through a shift into freedom, into true freedom, sovereignty. The I am, not dependent on any other beings, not caught in the workings of mass consciousness. That's a difficult one. Setting yourself free of spiritual families, your angelic families, setting yourself free of your biological family. God love them, leave them. Leave them in terms of your own freedom, so you're not tied into the ancestral karma, the ancestral biology. Love them for the I am, for the God within, but not just because they're your family. Freedom of your own expression, for your own expression, freedom from the mind. Now, it's not to say that the mind doesn't have a place, but actually, if you really feel into it, the mind doesn't want the place it's been in any longer. It really doesn't. It's the thing that makes you, the thing that makes you doubt. Actually, your mind really doesn't make you doubt, but the mind processes all of the consciousness about doubt. It's you that are doubting yourself, but the mind then goes to work in service to you, processing all of it, coming up with remembrances of the past, times when you've been hurt, times when you've been thrown to the lions and the wolves and everything else. So the mind is kind of a cooperator in this whole thing. We come to this point here of freedom today, right now, in this room with all the Shambhala from all around the world. And I pose the question to you once again, are you individually, and don't answer right away, feel into it because there's some fine print. Are you ready for this shift into freedom? The fine print is, well, you'll have freedom, you'll have sovereignty. But when you shift into freedom, you release the attachments on all the things that have kept you in a type of prison or away from freedom. And you say, well, isn't that a good thing? I don't know. I don't know, because what are the things that you're still holding on to? Money, or your old concepts of money? Friends and family? Afraid of being alone in the world? Sovereignty is being alone, by the way. What if you lost your job tomorrow? What did I do wrong, you're going to say? Oh, it's freedom. It is truly freedom. Relationships, everything else, we won't go into that because I don't want to depress you, but it's releasing into your sovereignty, into your freedom. But the thing that we're really going to take a look at today is the freedom beyond the mind. Freedom beyond the mind. Again, the mind has limited your ability to see the potentials, and the potentials are grand. Yes, the hour has come, the minute has come, the time has come for us to take a walk over that Atlantean line. Beyond the mental, I'll be probing you, I'll be prodding you to stop thinking like an Atlantean, to open up to dreams and potentials. What maybe today in that mind you might think is crazy, you're going to come to realize is not at all. You want to do it, this thing, enlightenment, because it is a grand challenge, very rewarding, highly stimulating, breaks out of the old human mold, because you can, because you've spent 1,000 or more lifetimes on Earth. You want to do it just to do it. And as you do, it will make a tremendous difference in the consciousness of this planet. All of the consciousness and the energy that you're putting out will go and be made available for the potential of others. Let's take a deep breath together as we cross that Atlantean line. As we go into the new potentials that aren't linear, that aren't limited. Let's take a deep breath and give thanks to Archangel Michael, to Robert, to Coca, for being here in the Shambhala Theater. Let's take a deep breath for all of the entities and for you. And when you walk out of here, when you leave this energy and you wonder what it's all about, if you're doing it right, when it will come to be, and any of those other questions, you take a deep breath and you say to yourself, all is well in all of creation. Party on, Shambhala, party on. Thank you. Thank you.